All right, Xavier, it's that time. Top 5 rappers of this year so far. Top 10 albums as well. We'll start with the rappers. Who are your top 5 rappers of the year so far? Go ahead and leave in the comments who you guys believe is the top 5 rappers of this year and whose list you thought was better as well. All right, go ahead and start us out, Xavier. Who's your top 5 rappers this year so far?
Right. Always my favorite time of the year because there's going to be that one person in the comments that gives us a rapper that nobody other than them has ever heard of.
Or thought about.
How could you not leave in McGoober McMuffins? I'm like, who is McGoober McMuffins? But top 5 rappers of 2025. Starting off number 5, the one, the only, Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Tunchi F Baby.
Uh-huh.
Lil Wayne did not have a good album this year.
No.
I'll be straight up with you.
Carter 5.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
But his rapping was high level, and it has been high level for at least 20 years. So I think for the consistently rapping at a high level, for that alone, I got to put Wayne at that 5. Because who has been rapping at that high of a level better than Lil Wayne? Now, the Carter 5, like we said, was a bad album with subpar content.
Mm-hmm.
But Lil Wayne as a rapper, if anything, I would say has progressed. So don't play no peanuts to elephants around me, but I'll still give him that 5.
And a good talking point to that to add to your list and your top 5 being with Lil Wayne being in there is replace that peanuts to elephant beat with the mutt beat. Somebody actually did that, and the song was incredible, and the rapping was incredible. So it's the difference between production and beats, which is a huge part of music, a
Right.
big part of music, and just lyrics and
Right.
flow and.
But that's what
cadence
happens
and
when
what
you're
Lil Wayne does for
that's,
so long.
that's what happens when your producer's your manager. So you get trash beats. All right. Number 5, Lil Wayne. Number 4, I have Freddie Gibbs.
Okay.
Freddie Gibbs is in a similar vein as Lil Wayne for me this year, where I wasn't the biggest fan of their album. He dropped off Fredo 2 with The Alchemist. I wasn't the biggest fan of that as far as the content. In comparison to the album he dropped last year in 2024, this album was a little lackluster as far as the depth and storytelling. But Freddie Gibbs is still rapping at a consistently high level, especially on that back-to-back from 24 to 25. So with that alone, and The Alchemist complimenting him perfectly, got to give Freddie Gibbs that 4th spot. Number 3, I have one half of the greatest duo this side of hip-hop, the Clips, Malice.
Okay.
So I have Malice at my 3rd spot for a simple reason. Name another rapper that can take a 20-year hiatus, start preaching, and come back and have one of the best verses on one of the best songs of the year. Oh, you don't FICO.
Amen.
If you weren't sure what song I was talking about. So Malice, similar to Lil Wayne, has been rapping at a consistently high level for over 20 years, but unlike Wayne, we just weren't able to hear Malice.
Right.
He came back into the game not missing a single step, if anything showing us just how much he was awaiting this moment off camera.
Mm-hmm.
So easily have to put Malice at that 3rd spot. And I don't even need you to look at me, Cayman. Number 2, I have Pusha T. Don't talk to me.
Okay.
Number 2.
But please explain. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. No. Go ahead first.
Number 2, I have Pusha T. Now, this is not our first time recording this video. Last time we recorded this, I did not have Pusha T on my list.
At all.
I had Joey Badass. The more I considered it and going back and listening to a few of the songs from Joey Badass's East Coast versus West Coast battle, going back and listening to Let God Sort Him Out and Lonely at the Top, there is a distinct discrepancy in rapping ability between Pusha T and Joey Badass. And not even to be disrespectful, one has legit just been rapping 30 years longer than the other. So I'm going to expect you to have a certain poise and perfection when you are rapping. And Let God Sort Him Out, Pusha T showed nothing but that. So one of them had to go, and it was Joey. But still love you, boy.
Explain this to me though. Why Pusha over Malice in your list?
Oh, Push Over Malice in my list because same. Really, the only reason Wayne made my list is for consistency. Pusha T has been consistent, whether or not he was with the Clips, whether or not he was on his own, whether or not he was with Kanye or Pharrell. It doesn't matter who Pusha T is with. He is gonna rap his ass off. And like I'm sure you're going to mention, Pusha T spearheaded 99% of these songs. So that is going to take a level of greatness to be able to know that no matter the song, I'm going to be able to grab the attention of our audience to where they're going to make it to the end of the song. And that's not something that a lot of artists can do. Not every artist is going to go first on a song for a reason.
True.
Usually they'll save they'll save the worst for the middle. Is what it is.
I agree.
So, but when you're in a duo, there is no middle. So you need a great opener and you need a great closer. And that's exactly what we saw throughout Let God Sort Him Out.
1000%.
So just like that, 1-2 punch, Pusha T and Malice 2-3. Number 1, he gave us 2 albums, guys. Essentially.
Well, a pre-lux.
It was enough on there.
Okay.
We're so loose with the term album nowadays. So loose with the term album nowadays. So call it what you want. I call it enjoyable music. I call it bars. I call it rapping your ass off. And I call him JID. Ain't nobody this year rapped better than Jid. I know I just got done gobbling up the clips. I know I did. You can watch it back. But there's only one person to rap better than the clips this year, and that is Jid. I don't want to hear it. He dropped a prelux of throwaway songs better than most of the records from your favorite rapper. Straight bars and different styles. He said, you want me to sound like Twista? You want me to out-rap Eminem? I got you. Oh, you want me to hop on the track with was it Sir or was it Black?
It was Black. Yeah, it was Black.
You want me to hop up on a track with Black and get introspective?
Yep.
I could do that on my worst day. So he just showed us what to expect from God Does Like Ugly. Because there's no way you're going to listen to the prelux and expect subpar rapping. That shows a level of, again, greatness. Because if you give me 4 tracks of the best songs I've heard this year, and you're still supposed to drop an album after that, you can't miss. Because everything is going to be compared to them 4 songs you dropped already. And not only did he, in my opinion, outperform the prelux, he out-rapped the prelux. So, hey, it's been his year for 10 years. He's been up next for 20 years. And 2025, he is number 1.
1000%. All right, go ahead and read that list from 5 down to 1 all the way through.
So, top 5 rappers of this year. Number 5, Lil Wayne. Number 4, Freddie Gibbs. Number 3, Malice. Number 2, Pusha T. And number 1, JID, the Jedi Master.
All right, hey, that's a good starting 5 right there, Xavier. If I had a starting 5 of spitters and we're talking about this year, I think your list is very, very strong. Now let's get to mine. We have very, very we have similarities, if I were to say the least, on our list. And we had I'm gonna call it a pre-production earlier this week when we went over our top 5s, and I think I'm gonna stay kind of the same in mines. I was battling with the chance that Chance the Rapper got on this list in my top 5. I was really battling with that, but at number 5, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to put Freddie Gibbs at my number 5 position. Alfredo 2 dropped this year, and although I do love Alfredo 1, I would have to say that Alfredo 2 made you think about and made the conversation prevalent of what part of the series was better. Um, in my estimation, when I look back at it, I think that Alfredo 1 was better. But as you said, when you were talking about Freddie Gibbs, from last year's project to this year's project, Freddie Gibbs has been rapping in a top five, um, in a top five. He's been moving like a top five rapper in 2024 and 2025. I did enjoy the project last year better than I enjoyed this project, but you can't really lose when you have Alchemist beats and you're talking about what they talk about in the Alfredo series in a totality. I
Right.
know it was kind of lacking the depth that we kind of needed, especially with some of the other albums that came out this year. But as far as rapping ability and who's rapping better, I don't think there are 10 rappers rapping better than Freddie Gibbs, and I do think that he belongs on a top 5 rappers list. So he's my number 5 rapper. Number 4 to me is your number 1, JID. And I would agree with you when you say the statement of who's rapping better than JID this year. I don't think there's really anybody, but I do think that there's other elements that go into rap that the people that I have before him have that he doesn't have. I think that he's rapping at a very, very high level, but there's other things that are not working in his favor as far as just what his name is providing to the experience of rap at this time that people are not talking about for some reason. I don't know. JID to us is next up and been next up for years, but there's just something still missing to me. And when you listen to his music and when his name is being talked about in the rap category, there's something to me that is still missing slightly. I don't know what that is, and I don't know what he can bring together to get to that level. Maybe it is a 15 track album with J. Cole, a joint album that he said that they have that's a smoker. Maybe it is something like that that can get him to the next level. But what is it that JID has that is missing? I just think it's something, and he's my number 4 rapper. But I would agree with you in totality, from the Prelux to God Does Like Ugly. I don't think that there's anybody rapping better than him. I just think that there's things that are far more um important than just the rapping. Like that's one part of it, and that's an important part of it. And what JID can do as far as flow, cadence, bars, everything he has in his package is just something to me that's missing. That's why he's my number 4 position on the list and not higher. My number 3 is Joey Badass. Joey Badass, who I feel like had a great album as well. I would probably categorize God Does Like Ugly and Lonely at the top as maybe a point 0.5 difference. If Lonely at the top is a 7.5, God Does Like Ugly is a 8. If God Does Like Ugly is a 8.5, which I'm still deciphering which one is which, then Lonely at the top is a 8. I don't think that the drop off is as significant enough. And he does have the Prelux, which I really don't count as much, which I should, because it was great rapping and great songs. But when I'm just looking at the albums from these two, it's like neck and neck to me. And for Joey to have the rap battle, for Joey to on the fly have to take on multiple people that dissed him and respond to all of them and put them all in a coffin and kill them in a rap battle, I think that was very, very impressive. That is something that Joey Badass, we talked about this before. It like he's been rapping since 2013, 2012 when we had some of the killers in there. Kendrick, J. Cole, Wiz, Drake, all these guys that had grew up with him. And even though he was 17, 16 at the time, he was very, very younger than some of these guys that popped at that time. He was supposed to win this battle against, the B level or C level talent that he had to go against, but he still did it. I think he still, delivered as far as bars, and to do that on the fly, fire. Lonely at the top, I think, is one of the best albums and a top 10 album. We'll talk about our top 10 albums later, but I think it's a top 10 album. So he's at my number 3 spot based on that battle and based on what his body of work, what he dropped this year. So he's at my number 3. Number 2 is Pusha T. Let God Sort Him Out is a amazing piece of work, and what Pusha T and Malice did on that album will be talked about for a long time. Pusha T, as you talked about, spearheaded a lot of those songs. If Pharrell wasn't on the hook of some of those songs, then it was Pusha T that had to deal with the hook, had to deal with being the first person on the verse. And when you have songs like Mike Tyson, Blow to the Face, when you have songs like POV, when you have songs like FICO, like, you can't get to a Malice verse without getting to a Pusha T verse first, and having him bring you into an element and set the stage for the closure that Malice is. I think that he had one of the best years of his career. He also had things like the Wale Pusha T verse. He also had things like the verse on the JID album, God Does Like Ugly, as well. Those were amazing verses from Pusha T, and song formation is a big thing in music. Let God Sort Him Out showed you what a duo should do at its highest level, and I can't leave both of them out of there. So my number 2 is Pusha T, and my number 1 is Malice. How good is he to come back after the hiatus that he had, as you mentioned? But to me, the closer is always going to get more credit than the guy that, you know, set the foundation of it. And I understand you set the table. You're like a Magic Johnson or LeBron James that sets the table for his teammates. But it's something about that nigga like Jordan and Kobe that's going to close in the fourth quarter. There's just something that you feel. There's another element of it, and Malice is just that, a closer. All things considered, last verse. Mike Tyson, Blow to the Face, last verse. FICO, last verse, as you mentioned. POV, last verse, as you mentioned, when they changed the beat and let him go crazy. Ace Trumpets, which Pusha T had an amazing first verse in Ace Trumpets, but I think that the trophy goes to, I remember you were talking about this, the different elements and how Malice used his voice on that song was amazing. How good has Malice been in our year 2025? To me, he is the best rapper to rap in 2025. I know this album, Let God Sort Him Out, is old, but the bars and the things that I heard on Let God Sort Him Out has to make Malice my top rapper. So at 5, I have Freddie Gibbs. At 4, I have JID. At 3, I have Joey Badass. At 2, I have Pusha T. And at 1, I have his brother from the legendary duo Clips, Malice, who to me had some of the best verses that I've ever heard, and definitely the best verses that I heard this year. And that's where the JID Malice conversation of who's rapped the best has definitely been a discussion in my head for longer than, you know, for a long time. Ever since those 2 albums came out, I've had the discussion of who's been rapping better. And you probably could say Jid because he's by himself, but to me, Malice and some of the things that he did on Let God Sort Him Out, amazing and exceptional, impeccable. So those are my top 5 rappers list. You ready for your top 10 albums?
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.